So, some major progress has been made. Let's get right into it. Boom. Engine is sitting in the BMW. 1JZ is actually sitting inside the BMW E46. So, you know, very big milestone. Transmission is also in. Pretty much, yeah. This was a very tough task, not going to lie. I probably pulled and pushed and put it back in closer to 10 times just to get the fitting correct. As you can see, I haven't bolted up the shifter yet, but I definitely am gonna have to actually, let me get some light in here. I'm gonna actually have to cut some of the trans tunnel so I can get that shifter in. So it's almost in the right hole, or it's almost lined up with the hole, but it's gonna be a bit off. It's gonna be a bit further back, and it's not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I'm not really that worried about it. You know, it's just gonna be a little bit pushed to the back, so that's not a big deal. But you know, this is how it's gonna be sitting. You know, so let's talk about what you need to do this. Essentially, you're gonna obviously need engine mounts, custom engine mounts for the JZ E46 platform. I believe the E36 platform is also very similar. I think you can use the same stuff. You're going to need a rear oil sump. Repeat, you're going to need a rear oil sump because I had heard that, and I thought I actually had one, but when I actually went to try to put the engine in for the first time, you know, it bangs on this cross member, so there's no way you can get a front sump without doing some major fabrication, which I highly you know, recommend against. So you need to get a rear sump, and even with the rear sump, it still kind of hits on the cross member, but it does clear. So when you're putting it in, it kind of falls into place. But again, just to reiterate, you need a rear sump oil pan. The front sump will not work. So what else will you need? Obviously, depending on what transmission you go with, you know, different mounts as far as that goes. So you need that, and also if you're using I'm using an R154. I'm using an R154, and I had to bang out the trans tunnel a little bit. I had to basically massage it because the first time I tried to put it in, it would not fit. So you definitely have to bang up the firewall or trans tunnel a little bit so that the bell housing could basically clear, because it's real big. That was like the main thing I had trouble with. I had to bang that up. I know a lot of people actually get caught here. I don't really know how, but I didn't, so I'm thankful for that. So that was actually okay for me. The brake booster didn't cause any issues. I know I've seen a couple videos where people had to cut this up a little bit, but mine's clearing. Mine looks to fit completely fine, so I wouldn't really worry about it. What else did I have actual issues with? My mounts are pretty. They're the TDR ones, so they basically are able to slide back and forth. So that definitely helped with as far as kind of if I need to go, you know, a little bit further or a little bit forward, that helped for sure. Man, other than that, it wasn't terrible. It was just a lot of putting it back in, putting it back out, you know what I'm saying? And it was real annoying, you know, because it was like, oh, things almost line up, but you know, they just didn't. So I had to take it out, adjust a couple things, and then put it back in and see if it fits. So, but it's looking good now. You know, I'm trying to think of anything else you guys will need. Obviously, you're gonna need a harness to adapt the 1JZ to the E46 chassis. I went with Wiring Specialties. It's gonna run you at least $1,500 to $2,000 depending on what options you get. So that's, you know, you're gonna need that, of course. Obviously you're gonna need ECU, you know, all the regular stuff for a build. Trying to think what else you would need to actually get this in. It's not terrible. Obviously you're gonna need a drive shaft to, you know, to mate the your transmission with the actual car. Again, depending on what transmission. I got a R154, so I got to get a custom drive shaft actually made. I have the one that was with the IS300, but essentially I'm gonna get that actually lengthened most likely, so that won't be too bad. But what's next? Well, I gotta put back the car essentially. I gotta do the hoses, right? The coolant hoses. I'm not gonna cut anything out really. I'll make another video as far as what I'm gonna be doing with the hoses and you know, the coolant flow and how it's gonna interact with the actual heater core. But I'll make a separate video on that one. But I gotta do that, and then I gotta put back the kind of the front end, and then we're gonna see about getting this getting the actual intercooler piping done. And so we got that intercooler piping, you know, put back the front end. Yeah, man, you know, exhaust stuff, gotta get a wastegate, of course. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, gotta get a wastegate and see how this exhaust is gonna kind of flow out. I'm probably gonna do an open dump. Yeah, most likely I'm gonna do an open dump, straight down to the floor, just to keep things simple. And I do want as much power as possible, so this thing's gonna be real rowdy and loud, but hey, you know what I'm saying, it's a race car. So hopefully it's not too much longer. I do have some more things to buy, of course. And then of course you got to do your fueling, which again I'll make a separate video on that. But I got to do my fueling. I mean, it's just really at this point, it's just this tedious stuff. It's the little stuff at this point. The major stuff is obviously done. You know, got the engine in the car, and now, you know, we gotta work around it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, any questions, let me know. If you see anything I've done wrong, let me know. If I said anything wrong, let me know. Put it in the comments. You know, we're all here to learn at the end of the day. But you know, and just letting you guys know, if you are doing this swap, if you're planning on doing the swap, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. This is one of the most expensive, more expensive side swaps that you can get into. You know, if you have, you know, obviously it's a Toyota engine going into a BMW, so obviously there's a lot of parts that go into it. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a cheap JZ swap, just get an IS300 or a GS300. You know, that's personally what I'd recommend. But you know, I've already done the IS300 swap, and you know, you guys all know what happened with that one. If you don't, you can check out my videos. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe for more content. This is what this engine is looking like, and I'll keep you guys updated. King Ferg, peace.